This week's podcast is brought to you by the Ballatin Dental Clinic. February is National Children's Dental Health Month. Dr. Brown and his friendly staff provide trusted family dental care for all their patients. Their youngest patients receive a free toothbrush, toothpaste, and dental floss with each kid checkup. Call 507-734-2251 today to keep those pearly whites shiny and healthy.
Welcome to the 29th edition of the Headlight Hot Seat. My name is Per. I will be your host for the next half hour or so. And I am honored today to have Mr. Alex Greenway in our little studio. Thanks for joining us, Alex.
Thank you. I've enjoyed listening to these podcasts. It's a great thing.
Nice little plug for us. Thank you. Let's get to know Alex a little bit. What's your bio, Alex? Who are you?
Yeah, I've been here for I think 10 years now. Originally from Canby, Minnesota. My wife Sarah and I both. So we went to 2009 graduates of there, and we both went to college in Fargo-Moorhead. So went to NDSU my first year, and then once I decided to teach and coach, transferred across the river to Moorhead State. And she came up also, and she's a social work major. So you've got two high school sweetheart sets in a row now with Kim and Scott last week.
I was just going to say that.
Sarah and I.
And that proves you did listen last week.
That's right. So I tell kids sometimes it does work. It does work
Yeah.
to stay together. So we've been dating, been together since 7th grade.
What?
In school. Yeah, 7th grade. So, I started, graduated from Moorhead State in 2013 and got my first job teaching social studies at Dilworth, Glendon, Felton. I was there for 3 years, and then once we had our son Evan, Sarah said we should probably get closer to home. I said probably a good idea. So, social studies job in Tracy was open, and that was 2016. So, drove down here and interviewed, and it was lucky enough to get it. That's been great, and we lived in Marshall for a little bit, and then we moved to town here. I think 7-8 years ago. Maybe.
So your other child, what's her name?
Emma.
Emma.
Yep.
And their ages?
Evan is, 10, and Emma's 7.
10 and 7.
That
So
better be right.
Yeah, you better be right.
But I started coaching football at Moorhead High School when I was a sophomore in college, so coached there for 6 years before coming here.
So let's circle back to the high school sweetheart thing. 7th grade. So she followed you up north?
Yeah,
you followed her, or you
She went to South Dakota State first, and I went to NDSU.
Okay.
And then we both went to Moorhead State after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this high school sweetheart thing, it's a phenomenon. But apparently you and Kim have both made it work pretty darn well.
Yeah, well, I'm lucky that, she's great, so.
Cool. When did you get married?
We got married in, this was...
See, that should have been just off the top of your
I'm trying to
head.
think how long this was. We got married right after college, so 2013. So this was year 12, yeah.
So you taught social studies, but you're not teaching anymore per se. Tell me about the new position this is your first year in the new position?
This is year 2, yeah.
Year 2, okay.
Yeah. Well, I went back and got my master's in ed leadership, and I just finished my principal license last August. So it was a good thing. We had Sarah Timmerman had left, our registrar, and Mrs. Gaskell left, our counselor. So it created a hole, and Tony Miller, our last principals, kind of morphed them together. And I was ready to leave the classroom and got that position. So I do. I'm a registrar. I take care of scheduling for kids, all of the career and college guidance counseling, and I'm also our district MARS coordinator, which is boring, but it's pretty much how we get all of our money. So
Okay.
If we screw it up, it's
Well, boring but
not a good
important.
deal, yeah.
We know who to blame.
Yeah, exactly. And then on top of, it's really turned into more of an assistant principal, kind of dean of students, helping out like all of those, lots and lots of different things, which for me has been excellent experience. A lot of times for people who become principals, you don't get to deal with a lot of those things until you have the job, and it's too late to learn it. Whereas I've gotten to now, really for 2 years, do a lot of principal stuff that has been great for me.
So you're climbing the ladder of education, kind of, so to speak. Do you have aspirations? Do you have a goal for landing another job? Like keep climbing that ladder as far as principal, superintendent? Where does it end for you?
Superintendent, no, I don't. I don't have any interest in that. But principal would be that's what I'm looking to. Yeah.
You've seen all the stuff that Chad has to put up with.
Yeah.
Dr. Anderson. It's
Yeah.
like, no,
and building projects and the budgeting and finance and
Oh.
that's not me.
Yeah.
So
Kind of takes the fun out of it. I mean, teachers and educators get into it for the kids, but the more you put the business side into it, the less you can focus on the kids. So.
yeah, absolutely.
And coaching, you're no stranger to the sidelines. You've been an assistant football coach for how many years?
All of them here. So this was year. I think this was this 10 already.
And you've served under two coaches,
Yep.
Mr. Kynes and Mr. Cruzy.
Yep.
Is football your sport? Is that kind of your go-to thing?
Yeah, it's my favorite. I've coached fifth grade basketball, junior high basketball. Haven't coached baseball, but I really enjoy track. And track was not.
Oh,
I
that's
wasn't
right,
In
yeah.
track in high school, I had some buddies that in the spring we went and lifted weights, and then went and played golf after. I don't know what that says about me, but nobody ever asked me to be in track. So that was probably it. But it was a natural thing for me to move into that. Murray Hansen, our former coach, was looking for somebody for high jump, and I said, well, I'm already coaching these kids in the weight room anyway. I can learn high jump. What do you think? And she said, yeah, we'd love to have you. So it was really, for me, an easy kind of natural thing to get into track. And I wanted to get some of our football guys out too, which I was able to do. So that was.
What's the learning process? And that's very specialized in track. It's not just running around the track 4 times. It's the high jump, long jump, triple jump, whatever. How much did you have to study before you started working with the kids?
Yeah, everything. High jump was not anything I was familiar with at all. But running mechanics, jumping, understanding body position, how kids take off the ground and land, that stuff I do know and have coached before. We kind of talk about that a lot in the summer. So that came easier. But high jump it is very technical. But it was
Everything,
really
yeah.
fun it was like a whole new world for me. It was fantastic.
So you're learning along with the kids,
Yeah,
probably.
for a little bit I was, yeah.
You look like, this is not an insult, you could coach shot or discus. Have you done that at all? Have you dabbled in that, or?
I could, but I never had to.
Okay.
Because we've had Coach Otto was helping
Yep.
out a lot, and then we've had some good coaches that were really into it step in, and that group's gotten bigger, so it's hard. The hard thing about track, and Heather does a great job planning practices because it's all about managing time, and athletes have to be pretty independent at times.
Yeah.
Where we have to be able to say, okay, sprinters, she's got to go work with hurdlers today. We need to trust you're going to do your sprint workout. And sometimes I wouldn't. If I'm in the weight room, I don't get out to high jump till 5 or so. So you kind of need kids to hang around.
And that's
so
tough
shot,
for.
It's hard to get.
Yeah.
You really have to kind of focus on that.
That's tough as you get younger kids too. Maybe you don't trust them as much. Trust is kind of a weird word to use, but you know what I mean. It's maybe if you put them on their own and they have their independence, maybe they won't be as, you got to light a fire under them, and you're
Very
not there to
true.
do that.
Yeah, and we rely on our older kids to
Yep.
lead the warm up, and we've gotten to a point now, or Heather has, where we feel our kids are really comfortable with what we expect of them in practice. But
So a big part of your life, obviously,
Yeah.
is working with kids in the weight room. Last year, you were named the National High School Strength Coaches Association State Coach of the Year.
a couple years
For
ago,
was it 2 years ago?
it was 20. I think it was 22 or 23 now.
Okay. Well, time flies.
Yeah, it does.
I do remember doing that story, but I thought it was more recent than that. But this is the Upper Midwest, 4 states.
Well, it was just our state. We have a state, regional, and then national coach of the year.
But the nationals, you were Minnesota, and then
the
there was right, and then there was South Dakota, North Dakota, and Iowa or Wisconsin.
I didn't win the region. Just
No,
the state.
okay.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
we do have a regional coach of the year.
Okay.
Yep.
So what went into that? I mean, what do you have to? What's the criteria for even being up for that? Because that's pretty big.
Yeah, we had to. Well, I was lucky enough to be asked to join. So the NHSSCA, which yes, we all agree is a very long acronym.
We can shorten that.
What it came from, if we can go back a little bit, because it's really interesting. The National Strength Coaches Association has been around for a long time, but is geared more toward college and professional. And what our coaches found was, and it was a group of guys from around the country, really, who kind of thought, we're high school coaches. It's so different from college. It's so different than professional.
Yeah.
It's so specialized and hard that they thought we need just a high school one. So they started this, just focused on high school coaches. And so they started it, and then it's grown from there. And then we have an advisory board for each state, and I was asked to be on that.
Okay.
So I'm on the Minnesota advisory board, and then so you have to be a member of the Coaches Association, and then to be nominated, somebody has to nominate you. So somebody nominated me, and I still actually don't know who it was. But and then you get sent this whole. You have to send in a video, and you send in what some examples of how you program and all of the stuff that proves that you kind of know what you're doing. And so it was really really cool. And then we have our national conference in this year. It's in Milwaukee, and it was in Texas when I went. So went down to really nice school in Fort Worth, Texas, and got the award, and it's really cool. So
Well, you obviously don't do this for awards and accolades and, getting a pat on the back. You have a very profound impact on the kids through the strength and the conditioning that you do with them. But talk about that before we get into the details about just what it's like to be able to have that impact on them and make them understand how important it is, not just to be a good athlete, quote unquote, but to be a better athlete and better health wise. Just
Right.
your body's stronger. It's more flexible. Is that a good feeling for you to be able to know that, yeah, these kids are transforming because of you and the work you do with them?
yeah, definitely. And yeah, anybody gets into coaching, definitely not for the money, but you want to make an impact. You want to be somebody that's doing things. I wanted to do something of significance, something that really mattered. And being a strength coach is definitely that. And you have, being able to coach kids. And I've said before, it's not really the skill on the field or court or mat. It's the confidence that you see in kids when they hit a weight they haven't hit before.
Right.
Or what happened today with girls in the weight room. I said, that's too light. Well, I can't do this. I said, yeah, you can. So I put more weight on. Sure enough, they did it.
Yeah, wow.
Like, oh, okay. I said, yeah, so you got to push yourself. You
Yep.
know? And so it's little moments like that all the time. But strength training is there's a ton of research that shows that resistance training really slows the aging process. So that's something that it's a lifelong skill. And what we wanted to do was keep our kids healthy. And when you're at a school our size, especially, we only have a pretty small number of kids that are competing. So we need to do everything we can to get them as healthy as possible. I mean, that's what it's about too. We don't want them to be injured.
Injuries has got to be a key thing.
It's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Because if they're not in the court, they can't compete. I mean, simple as that. So a lot of the things we do are geared toward injury. I don't like to say prevention because they still happen.
Yeah.
But mitigation, trying to keep it as injuries down as much as possible. But it is an excellent feeling when kids come in and do things that they didn't think they could do. But and the weight room's for everybody. It really is. We have a big sign in the weight room that says "You belong here," and I stole that from a coach, just like good coaches do, just steal from everybody else. Because where you come into the weight room is all about you. It's all about growth. You can't look across the weight room and look at a guy or girl who's 2 years older than you and body looks way different. You're not there yet. So I want kids to focus on what they can do and what they can do to get stronger. And not be intimidated at all, because it's a scary place.
It is,
loud.
yeah.
We have loud music. There's weights banging around everywhere. If you weren't with us in the summer, you're a little behind when school starts, so you look around and but I try to make it as fun and laid back as possible.
Do younger kids, let's say 6th, 7th grade area, do they respond well to it? Because they got to get over that intimidation hurdle first. Then what is it like for them to?
Well, my favorite group is our 4th through 6th grade group in the summer.
Okay.
That I started called FAST, Future Athlete Speed and Strength Training.
Yeah,
Also
I've seen the
stole that-
T-shirt.
Also stole that from a coach.
Hey,
in Florida.
plagiarism is the
That's-
highest form of flattery.
Yeah, and but the way I looked at it was, we have youth camps for basketball, football, everything else. We need it for weight training. If we know they're going to be doing it in 7th and 8th grade, then we need them to be. It's called like weight room literacy. I need them to know what a dumbbell is, how to move around how to move around the room safely, how to change weight safely, and that has helped a lot. So if they've been with us since 4th grade, which now are upperclassmen, some of them
Yeah.
that are getting into sophomore year started in that 4th grade or 4th, 6th group. So that has helped a lot. But they do take it. They do buy into it well. And we don't start with the heavy crazy stuff. With the young kids, we start really basic, just like you would anywhere else. So, yeah, they take to it really well.
But it's not just about adding bulk.
No.
I mean, we have some kids in the school at Tracy that are, you can tell, pretty devoted to the weight room. Mr. Martin with the wrestling team comes to mind. I didn't even, when I went out to shoot the returning letter winner photos before the wrestling season, I didn't recognize him. I thought he was a foreign exchange student or a transfer student. Dude is big. But that being said, you know, like wrestling isn't all about strength. It's about technique. You preach that to the kids? Like, do you remind them, okay, maybe your body isn't changing right now yet. You don't see the biceps or the quads or whatever. Do you think kids kind of, is that what they're looking for? Is that what their goal is? Because your goal as a coach is, you know, not about muscle, really. It factors in, but it's not about muscle 100%.
No, in fact, when I first started, the hardest thing to get kids to understand was that they didn't need to do as much as they were doing or thought they needed to. So, excuse me. No, I don't. It's not about bulking at all. It's about creating athletes. And when there's a certain way to lift and to program and to train that looks at the whole body. We don't do muscle groups. We don't do arms one day and back one day. That's what bodybuilders do. And bodybuilders can't jump. You know,
Right.
They can't do box jumps.
And they're not flexible.
They're not flexible, so they get hurt. We're doing it in a way where we're trying to build athletes. And sometimes that doesn't maybe show physically. And usually girls are worried about bulking up. That's common everywhere. But I explain, you have to do hours and hours for years to really, truly bulk up as a female athlete.
And I got to assume that's not their goal anyway.
No, they don't want to.
Yeah.
And but it is about. Then I explain, okay, you know, research shows girls are anywhere from 15 to 20% more likely to tear their ACL than boys.
No, really?
Yeah. So we start with landing training. Nobody gets hurt jumping, you know. They get hurt landing. So we explain that, you know. And then they buy into that, like, oh, okay. And everything that we do has a reason. Just like in the classroom, explain why you're doing everything. We do a lot of with our kids at the end in August to fight shin splints when they're running around. We do a thing called spring ankle that's scientifically proven to work. You know, so explaining all those things of, hey, you don't need to lift if you're in here for an hour, it's too long, fellas.
It's kind of an educational piece for the kids too. They're learning. It's not just about dumbbells and you know, lifting and pressing and how much weight you can press. It's about the mind too, right? It's about learning how to do this.
And mental toughness is something that we talk about a lot as coaches that we feel kids are lacking all around the country, not just here. But to me, mental toughness in the weight room gets built by, I can't watch every rep. I'm the only one in there usually. I can't see everything everybody does. So are you mentally tough enough to do every single rep with a weight that pushes you and gets you stronger and not skip anything? Even though you don't feel great, even though your buddy's already done it, saying, hey, let's go, you're my ride, or I'm going to give you a ride, let's go, get done. No. Are you mentally tough enough? And then you stack those days on each other, and it's an environment that's built to, you literally get what you put in.
Okay.
It's completely, doesn't take intelligence. You just, whatever you put in comes back to you.
How do you tailor workouts given per sport? Does it change? Does a football player come in? Do you have to, you know, you give them a certain thing, and then maybe there's a softball player that comes in. You mentioned you don't focus on arms or whatever, but how do you tailor your workouts, your sessions per sport?
Not as much as you'd think, because most sports need the same things. Right now, like this week, I changed the girls a little bit because of where they're at in their season. But for the most part, it doesn't. There might be a couple exercises that are different, but for the most part, it's all pretty close to the same. Track is different with throwers and our jumpers, sprinters, and distance kids are all doing the same thing because they're athletes. It's the same. Football and cross country were the same. Again, you're talking about power development. Volleyball and softball and baseball being overhand, or what we call overhead sports, where they're, you know, there's no video, but I'm doing an overhead motion, you know. So that with working with shoulders a little bit more to make sure that's healthy. There's a little bit of variation there, but other than that, everything is pretty close. Pretty close. The variation comes in the sets and reps and changing every week.
What about when you talk about variation, age wise? I'm assuming you gotta treat a seventh grader different than a sophomore or junior.
Yep. Yeah, we call that training age. So if you know, and it doesn't matter physical age. If somebody I've never seen before walks in the weight room for the first time, I'm going to start them differently than somebody else and do kind of call it a movement screen, but I'm just going to watch them squat, watch them move, and see if they're ready for anything else. But yeah, our junior high, summer is really different. 7th and 8th grade is different than our 9th through 12 group. 4th through 6 is different than the 7th and 8th grade. But the challenge in my high school is hard is, you have to have the 7th grader that, I use when I've given talks before at clinics, I use an example of when I first kind of took over. Tony Nelson was here, and he's pretty strong. He was a junior. He walked into the weight room, and right behind him walked a 6th grade girl. They're going to lift at the same time. So how do you build a system that you can both, you got to coach both of them in the same half an hour. So we use a program online that we pay for called Team Builder that is tremendous. So I can do it all, and it's on the kid's phone, so we don't use any paper, and they can see it all and track everything, and that makes it a lot easier for me.
I'm gonna finish up with, this is my kind of a new segment. It's called Best and Worst, but I changed it a little bit when Principal Dibble was in here. Instead of focusing on the worst, we changed it kind of the most challenging. So let's start with the best part of your job.
Well, the best part is kids and relationships that you make with kids. And when I've had teachers or coaches that have come talk to me or starting their career, my best advice is, as soon as you stop enjoying kids every day, you have to quit. You should stop.
Yeah.
And that's really the best part. It's the kids every day in the weight room, in my office when they come and ask about college or classes or anything. It's kids. And I, as an educator or coach, as soon as it quits being about that, then you can go do something else. Because like you said, we're not getting paid enough for it. I could take my skill set.
You're not getting rich?
No, go make more money doing something. We all could, but it's, the impact you have on kids every day, it's just...
That's the reward.
It's unmatched.
Yeah. All right, the most challenging part of your job, Mr. Greenway.
Yeah, this one I've been thinking about, but it's from a coaching angle and teaching also, the hardest thing, and you've had coaches on, and it's not the hours, it's not the bus rides, it's those things. It's the hardest or most challenging thing about coaching and teaching too is how every day you feel like you're kind of wanting it more than everybody else, more than your athletes, more than parents. And you're always kind of fighting or tugging along the message or what you're trying to achieve. So you've got kids, maybe not giving their best effort, and you got to deal with that. You got kids missing practice. You got excuses. You got, this kid's toe hurts because it got stepped on, and they go to the doctor, and they got to miss practice for 3 days, even though they could have just talked to you, or they don't communicate, or they got, so that's what wears on you, I think, as coaches.
Yeah.
And parents want what's best for their kids too. Of course they do. But
Yep.
I think we're in a point now, and numbers in sports are down all over the state, everywhere. But you have to decide, do you want to be comfortable or do you want to win?
How do you know when you get through to a kid? Do you have aha moments like, oh, now he gets it? Whether it's an offensive lineman pulling the right way or doing something right, or a receiver, or in track, maybe that technique on that jump, now she finally got it.
Yeah, when they stop questioning, when you explain it and they execute it, and then they do it consistently. The best thing as a coach is when you take what you've taught them in practice and it shows up in a game.
Right.
Say, holy cow, that drill, that meeting we had, that film I explained, that drill worked, and now you're getting it. And kids start to communicate, and yeah.
Cool.
So,
Alex, you are off the hot seat. Thank you for joining me today.
thank you.
This week's podcast was brought to you by the Ballatin Dental Clinic. February is National Children's Dental Health Month. Dr. Brown and his friendly staff provide trusted family dental care for all their patients. Their youngest patients receive a free toothbrush, toothpaste, and dental floss with each kid checkup. Call 507-734-2622 822-2251 today to keep those pearly whites shiny and healthy.